Okay, let's actually get to fixing the modules problem by creating our own test. So we can either type the following structure manually, but I'm going to just copy and paste it. So for sake of easiness, okay. So we need our own unique name for the test. So as far as I remember, it has to do something with the access. And maybe there's a better name, but I'm just going to give it access, so it just will be the unique for sake of this video. Okay, so we have our name, and now we need to um, create our own input file. So we just erase this one for now, and we will create it in the same folder with input files. And we need a name for the input file, and input file name consists of three parts. The first part is the input, which is just the prefix. Next is the name of the module in our check in our case, which is unnecessary parentheses. So I hope I spelled this correctly. Yeah, and then we need the name of our actual file. So I'm just going to name it this same way. So access and execute Java extension. Okay, we created our input file, and we need a source code. So let's just, it's convenient that usually the authors of such issues, they just already pin the code that is problematic, so we can just use it for our input files. So let's just copy this um, problematic code, and let's just change the name of this class so it will validate. Um, okay, so we change the name, and now we need a config to show the before state for PDD. So I'm just going to copy this config. Yes, I believe in this issue everything is default for the module setup, so it only has one property, which is default. And I forgot to mention that um, this type of config is called a property config. This is one of the formats, so the module name at the beginning and then all of the module's properties and their values. But there are also some other types of um, configs, but I'm going to be using this property config because that is what is being usually used. Okay, so we have the config now, and we need the final part, which is the show the after the execution, which are the violation comments. So let's just, since we have the violations in these lines, I'm going to make the violation comment, and we need some simple message. And you can just find them in the documentation. It doesn't have to be entire message, just a part of it. So I'm just going to be using this part, necessary parentheses, to some sort of signify that um, these lines should be marked as a violations after the execution. And now we need to not forget to add them to the expected array. So we have the violations from lines 21 to line 24. And I'm just going to label it right here. And there's a column numbers, but I'm not going to be worrying about them for now. As again, as I mentioned, that the column numbers are very tricky, and it's really hard to get them before the check giving the violations for these lines. So the most important thing is that we have the correct violation lines. So when we fix and the test will actually give the actual violations for these lines, it will just tell us which correct column numbers that we shall use. And I believe same applies to the message. We should not worry about this that much, but I'm just going to assign the same message code for about necessary parentheses, just just in case, but I don't have to be worried about this that much. Okay, so I have expected array, and we need the final. So we forgot to specify our input file right here. Okay, so we created our test, and let's just launch it. We know it's going to fail, but let's just see what is it going to say to us. Okay, as we can see that it says that it misses what we put in expected, so it detected that we have multiple violations in the expected list, but what it got was known, and so no actual violations, and they don't really match. So yeah, for For this moment, it's just the indicator that we set up the test correctly, and now it's time to fix it. Okay, so remember that I told you that we can use the test in order to get inside the check. So this is exactly the case. The test is basically serves like a door or portal inside check. So let me demonstrate you that. Let's first go inside. Just go to the checks file, and we just need to put a breakpoint somewhere in order to use the debug tool from test access to get inside of here. So I've already made a debug tutorial if you wish to watch. Yeah, so I just put it somewhere, but I usually put it inside the visit token because that's where it actually usually logs the violations and visit each component of the input file. Okay, so I just put the breakpoint at the beginning. Let's just get to that point using the debug tool. Okay, and now we're actually inside the checks in a real time. So in the left panel, we can see the stack trace of execution. If you want to see how exactly we got to that check, um, yeah, and you can literally walk over each piece of code in real time and try to see what's going on. But to make it easier, we know that our modules problem has to do something with not logging violations for these slides. And so we need to, ideally, we need to see the parts that are responsible for logging the violations, which are the log methods. So they are responsible for logging all sorts of violations. You can see we have the multiple of them. But the problem is not in the log methods, it's rather in what prevents these log methods from doing their job, which in this case are the if statements, or more specifically the conditions that we need to check. So you could just walk over each of the condition, try to see what is going on. And but we should not forget that we're currently just in some random beginning line, and we need to get first to our to the part when our violation starts. So for us, it's line 21. Let's just skip to that part by clicking on resume. Okay, we are on line 21, but there's also the other part, so the type of the AST tree element that can be confusing because there can be multiple stuff on the same line. And if you're confused and you wish, you can generate the abstract tree. Uh, so you can do that by just opening another project or folder. Create your own file, just copy and paste the input contents, just generate the AST tree by um, using the CLI command. Oops, I forgot it here. Okay, so I use this option, and we have the AST tree, which is like the structure for this input file. So as I told you, we have a lot of stuff in line 21. So we can try to see which element exactly can be most relevant to our problem. So I would say it's probably the parentheses. We can locate them in the debug, or maybe the args element that is inside these parentheses. So I'm just going to demonstrate you that I'm just going to either look for these or these elements. So values, I mean. So let's just get to them by keep clicking resume. So it's not ours yet. Okay, so we have args. Let's just stop at args. And again, as I told you, we just try to see each of the condition, probably get inside of the condition, and just try to walk here and just see what is going on. And yeah, once we check all of them, we probably know which condition doesn't let us log the violation that need to be logged. Or if we see that all conditions work properly and there's just the lack of implementations, we could probably create the new if statement or the new condition. Just yeah, fix this problem with that. So this is how it basically works. Yeah, thank you for watching.